Um, Hello everyone. Welcome to another episode of Josh Talks Vikes. I got one of my best friends, Logan, back in Nebraska. He's a big Eagles fan. He's here to tell us a little bit about Eagles draft, NFCs. We're going to talk a little bit about OTAs, some UDFAs, how the roster is shaking down for both teams, and just everything that's going on in the league right now. How's it going, Logan?
It's going great, thanks. Pretty happy about this draft and everything that's gone so far for the Eagles.
Yeah, I think the Eagles did a pretty good job. I think they filled what they needed to do with their roster. Filled a wide receiver three hole, which is going to turn into a wide receiver two spot. Because from what I'm hearing, AJ Brown's getting traded, right? To the Patriots, sounds like.
I'd say more than likely, Howie keeps on saying that AJ Brown's an Eagle, but I don't buy it one bit. I think he's gone by June. Um, I don't know what the trade is going to look like. Hopefully, there's at least a first round pick in there, but
Yeah. And
um,
then I think at post draft, compensatory picks come in too. So I'm not sure. Maybe that's a motivation for them holding him on roster, even with his attitude problems about his target share and stuff, if they don't want to give up a compensatory second, third, along with
yeah, I
AJ.
do. I do know that cap hit is also a big deal on why I think why they're waiting. But let's get into the Eagles draft picks.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Um, they traded up in the first round for Makai Lemon. Traded up 3 spots. And stolen away from the Steelers. And I think it's a great pick if we trade AJ, which with this happening, I think that'll happen.
I think it's a good pick too. I think the Eagles were pretty, uh, I don't know, precise. They were consistent with what they said about filling a wide receiver role. Sorry, I was a little bit laggy there. Um, and I think they filled it because I know I was a little disappointed with the Vikings talking a little bigger and other places talking a little bigger, like other sports channels about the Vikings about filling a wide receiver three spot, and then they just didn't do anything and stuck with way more defense.
Yeah, I think the Eagles now have a very good trio, even if Brown's gone. And if he were to stay for, say, another season, then that's a ridiculous wide receiver trio. But even if Brown gets traded, Dontavion Wicks or Hollywood Brown, whichever one ends up winning that wide receiver three spot, I think will do
Yeah,
great.
I
Because
forgot about Hollywood Brown.
I genuinely don't know who is like those guys are pretty even, but with how much we paid Dontavion Wicks, I would assume that he's going to be our wide receiver three.
He's also a fair amount younger too, so
Yeah,
maybe
he.
they see more of a future with him. Did
Mhm.
the Eagles have a second round pick, or was it just straight to the third?
They did have a second round pick, and they got Eli Stowers, tight
Oh,
end from
tight end
Vanderbilt.
Vanderbilt. Okay.
Yeah, he is. I watched some film on him. He's very good in the pass, and a very good. He's pretty fast too. He's a pretty good size. Obviously the concern would be his blocking, but we still have Goddard, and we still have a couple of other guys on our team that can hold that blocking spot if he can't. And especially for his rookie year, I think he'll be more of a rotational player. I don't expect him to start over Goddard or Calcaterra. I don't like. I don't expect him. He'll probably be within that tight end 2 or 3 range though, and he'll be. I think he has the potential of being very good.
I think that's a wise pick. I was a little disappointed that the Vikings didn't reach for a tight end in this year's draft. I think they have 4 or 5 on roster, which seems like a lot, but I mean, there's really only two like contributing tight ends there. TJ
Yeah,
Hawkinson and then Josh Oliver, who's a big blocker. But the other guys, if one of them didn't make the roster this year, I wouldn't be surprised. But I feel like we need more of like a receiving tight end on the Vikings, like kind of a Goddard or I guess a Stowers guy in this case from the Eagles. Because TJ Hawkinson, I mean, other than his first season when he got traded from the Lions, and I think the season after that, he was pretty good. But then he's had some injury concerns and hasn't been very consistent or catching a lot of passes. It's not his fault he doesn't get targeted too much, but I would have liked if they would have drafted a tight end.
Yeah, I think ever since what was it, his ACL tear 2 seasons ago, like
Yeah.
that kind of messed him up. He hasn't been the same since. And now for the Eagles. The Eagles did have a 3rd-round pick as well, and they got the guy I was hoping they would get in this entire draft, Markel Bell,
Okay.
offensive tackle, Miami. He is 6'9", 350, and he is the main guy I want to develop under Lane Johnson. He is an enormous human being, and his strength is absurd, and we saw it all throughout his college season, especially this year. Like, he did great. He's pretty fast for how big he is. Really excited about that. Maybe if he doesn't develop as well as I'm expecting or the team's expecting, he could go to guard and end up taking Tyler Steen's spot.
That's what I was going to say. The Eagles were very successful transferring Mekhi Becton to that guard
Mhm.
spot in their Super Bowl season, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, so and Mekhi Becton was a very similar size, so I wouldn't be that surprised if Steen obviously is a decent guard, but he regressed a lot last season, and so did the entire offensive line. But I wouldn't hate Markel Bell being the new starting right guard if he can't take over Lane's spot.
The Vikings short up the trenches. I mean, I already talked about that in the prior episode, but they're doing a lot of defensive line work where it seems like Philadelphia's working a lot on their offense. Was that your only 3rd-round selection?
Yeah, we only
Okay,
had one 3rd-round pick.
which is surprising. I feel like Howie usually gets a lot of picks within the first 4 rounds of the draft, but this year's
Uh,
just kind of one at each.
yeah, we did end up having 2 4th-round picks, but to trade up with the Cowboys, we gave both of those away, sadly. And but honestly, it wasn't. Or we gave 1 4th-round pick up to them, and I believe a 5th-round pick. And then the other 4th round, we gave up to the Vikings for Jonathan Grenard.
Yeah, I'm happy with that trade on the Vikings end. He was very productive in the Sam Darnold. I believe that was 2024 season. Very productive. Him and Andrew Van Ginkel, uh, I believe both of them had double-digit sacks, somewhere between like 12 to 15. But this year, I think he was like single digits. So I mean, he
Yeah,
wasn't very
I'm
productive.
pretty sure he had only
Like 5
2 to
something.
5 sacks, not a whole lot. But
No,
I was reading up on him once the Eagles got him during the draft, and he was 7th in pressures. Even if he wasn't getting there, he
no,
was
yeah,
causing havoc
no.
uh,
He's
for them.
solid, but
And
I'm happy the Vikings traded him because they traded up for Dallas Turner in 2023 to pick him at 17, I think. And if you're going to pick a guy at 17 and you're just not going to play him, it's just kind of a waste. So I'm happy he gets to see the field now, and Philadelphia gets an edge rusher that they need.
yeah, I think I don't know who he'll start over, Jalix Hunt or Nolan Smith. I'm gonna lean towards him starting more than Smith, just for the fact that he hasn't been the same since his injury in the Super Bowl when I think he tore his tricep or something in his arm, and he had to get surgery for it, and he wasn't as fast and as good at getting to the quarterback as he was the Super Bowl season. So he'll probably start over Smith. And Hunt. I think Hunt's pretty good just for the fact that if he needs to go into coverage, he can from edge. But our linebackers or the team's linebackers still end up being great. So even if Hunt can't do that this season, Jihad Campbell and Zach Bond can make that work.
Bond's a very good coverage linebacker.
Yes, he is. And Jihad's so fast. But with our 5th pick, this guy actually is pretty close to home. Cole Payton, quarterback, North Dakota State. He played for Westside.
Yeah.
He is a dual threat quarterback, and I watched some of his film, and he's freakishly athletic. That's for sure.
Yeah, 100%.
I believe I saw he had 31 rushing touchdowns in the past 2 seasons, so he is very good on his legs. You know, with how the offense has been going, with Hurts at least, a good, capable dual threat quarterback would be great in this offense. And I'm still not sure if the Eagles are going to re-sign Hurts after these next 2 seasons.
And
I think Tanner.
No, you go. You go. Tanner McKee.
I think Tanner McKee. You know, I believe this is the end of his contract because it'll be his 3rd season. So there is a high chance we trade him before the season or before the trade deadline. And, you know, Cole Payton, if he can just replicate what Tanner McKee has done these past 3 years or past 2 years, and if he develops under Hurts, I could see him being the starter in a couple of years if we don't go out and get a different quarterback.
And I think another thing to factor in with Peyton is he's got that winner mindset. I mean, he's been a national champion, I believe, twice at North Dakota State. And I mean, West Side, that's a great high school in Nebraska where we're from. If you don't know, they're consistent winners of state champions or runners up. So I mean, he knows what he's doing when it comes to winning games, and that's something that can't be learned. It's just it's like speed. It's harder to learn, teach, or improve. That mindset, that champion mindset, it's something that you're born with, and Cole Payton seems to have it.
Yeah, I mean, I think he has a real shot at being pretty good. Mm-hmm. For the Eagles' 6th round pick at number 207, they picked Micah Morris, Georgia guard.
Yeah.
He's I think he can be developed pretty well, but he's a guy that's going to take a little bit longer to develop. It seemed like he got flustered with the pace of the game sometimes. And he hasn't shown the best of the best highlights, but he seems memorable. Like what he reminds me of is kind of like a Dickerson type, like not super flashy but consistent.
I mean, you said he's out of Georgia. That means he played against some real tough defensive line competition in the SEC. So, I mean, you don't have to be super standout, but I mean, you're still going against some great guys in your conference. So that's something to consider too. Like,
yeah, I mean
it's like you can be a big fish in a small pond in like a group of 5 conference, or you can be an average to decent offensive lineman in a power 5. And you're probably as good or better than that guy in a group of 5.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think he'll do good sitting for a year or 2 under Steen, maybe even Markel Bell and Dickerson. I don't think he'd be the kind to move to center. I mean, that's a very real possibility. I just don't see it, but he seems like a good, reliable player. And then we have a couple of 7. Yeah, we got 3 7th-round picks. Number 244, Cole Winowski, safety from Texas Tech.
I like him. He's a nice, lengthy safety. And that's a Blankenship replacement.
Yeah, he more than likely will be the Blankenship replacement if he performs better than Epps. Epps is a reliable guy that played for us at the end when Makuba got hurt. Because and that sucks with Makuba. Like he was a rookie and he got hurt about 7 or 8 games in, and he
Yeah,
was showing real potential. But with Makuba back and Epps, Epps is a veteran player, but Kolanowski, he got converted into a safety from the linebacker spot. So he's pretty big, and he's a great run defender, which I like to see because Blankenship was very good in the run. And if we can replicate that with a 7th-round rookie, that definitely work out because it's pretty big. He's 6'3", 220 at
that's a
safety.
big safety.
Yeah.
I could see
And
him being a sub linebacker, kind of strong safety, big run
yeah,
support guy,
I
like you're
could
saying.
I could definitely see that. I could even see him playing, like you said, playing some kind of like outside linebacker, strong safety kind. If we ever were to run like a three linebacker set, but he seems, from what I've seen out of him, he'll probably be the starter over Epps for strong safety, and they'll move Makuba to free. Now, I've got mixed feelings about this next pick for the fact that I like it, but I don't know how it's going to work out. I hope it works out great, but it's Uar Bernard, defensive tackle out of the International Player Pathway Program.
He's a
He is
beast.
he is enormous, 6'4", 306 pounds with a 4.6 40, a 40-inch vert, and a broad jump of 11 feet, from Nigeria, and is at 6% body fat. He is supposed to play defensive tackle. I think that is a freak of a human being.
That's a
I
faster
think,
40 time than Miles Garrett at
yeah.
300 pounds more. Or not
Mm-hmm.
300, excuse me, 30 pounds more. Yeah.
And he ended up benching, I believe, 33 reps of 225.
That's a
So
big
very
guy.
similar. Yeah, very similar with Miles Garrett's combine numbers. He has never played football is the only problem. So that is the worrisome part that he just,
Defensive tackle isn't a crazy
yeah,
hard position
I
to learn. I
mean,
mean, that might be blasphemy. I understand that guys in the NFL are at a crazy high level, especially on the interior. But defensive tackle, I feel like it's a position it's probably the easiest position in football to learn, in my opinion.
I mean, I think that um, the only thing I struggle with the most is thinking about who, or not who, but when is he going to get those reps? Because the
Yeah,
Eagles' defensive tackles are great. You have Carter and you have Davis, and Davis just got that giant contract.
you got a
And
bag. Yeah,
and then even when those two aren't in, you have Moro Ojomo, and he's a great, reliable guy as well. And then even after that, you have Ty Robinson.
I'm Nebraska. Shout out
Uh,
Huskers. Yeah,
and Ty Robinson, the few plays and games that he played, and he ended up getting a good amount of pressures, and I believe he got some TFLs and maybe even a sack or two. Those might have been some preseason games as well.
I
But
remember him seeing preseason and like the Hall of Fame games and stuff. He was a beast.
yeah, he was playing great.
Stud.
Um, and that's, I'd say, the biggest worry is him being put behind all those guys.
That's a lot
Uh,
of talent to learn from, though.
it
You
it
can't have
is.
much better teachers than those guys.
And I think this year Carter's going to have a very good year. I think with him going into the contract year, I think he's going to prove a point on why he's a top 2 defensive tackle in the league.
Yeah. And then, I mean, you were talking about some tweeners that the Eagles drafted, like Cole with Wisnowski.
Yeah, when Wisnowski.
Cole Wisnowski. I mean, the Vikings draft tweeners like that too, like Jake Golday this year. I feel like he can be a true middle linebacker, kind of an off-ball guy, and I'm looking to see how that shakes down. The Vikings OTAs started today, I believe, and it seems like there could be a lot of position battles this year. While this draft, I feel like wasn't very depth heavy. I feel like the Vikings have a lot of depth at a lot of defensive positions. They have 5 starting caliber defensive tackles on roster, and it seems like they only play 3, pretty much just one true like nose tackle, and then they'll kind of play like some tweeners that are some smaller defensive tackles, larger defensive end kind of builds. And I'm looking to see how that shakes down with Caleb Banks kind of fighting for the spot, with Jalen Redmond, who I think is a very good defensive tackle too. I mean, he had some good pressure rates and they got him out of the UFL. And then, uh, Dominique out of Iowa State, Big Citrus right there, and Dominic Orange. And I'm trying to see how, if he gets play time, that's a heck of a nickname, and it's a cool guy to have on our team. I want to see how that shakes down. Do you know when the Eagles start their OTAs, or did they start today? I know some start a little
I
later.
actually was just looking at that, and I believe they did start today. Or I will have to check up on that.
Yeah, there's rookie mini camp starting soon and everything. And it'll be cool to see the guys, kind of find their place in the schemes and everything. And I think it's neat to see the rookies, all big smiles on their faces and they've made it. And then to get to see them grow and play in the season. But I feel like there's a lot of position battles on the Vikings roster. I mean, like wide receiver 3 is a big one on the Vikings. I know you were talking about wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3 spot on the Eagles. Fighting for the wide receiver 3 spot, we have guys like Ty Felton, only played 46 offensive snaps last year. And the new guys that we signed, Dylan Bell out of Georgia, Luke Wysong out of Arizona. I mean, not big numbers out of either of them, like 200 receiving yards apiece, couple touchdowns. But I don't know, they might have something to prove, and they could be coming for the spot with Ty Felton. Do I think they'll get it? No. Ty Felton, I think he's close to lock for that, but I think they could sign a free agent. I think we'll talk about that later. And then I think running back, I feel like that position could be open for grabs. Aaron Jones aging, Jordan Mason got fumble troubles, and he's kind of one dimensional. But now we got guys like Damon Claiborne and Keyshawn Owens, undrafted free agent, who could be coming for spots. I mean, Damon's very fast. Keyjohn's a bigger back, had 1,300 rushing yards this year. I'd like to see how that goes. Do you know any positions that could be seeing fresh faces in this new season other than wide receiver?
I believe that Wisnowski could definitely start over Epps. Epps is getting up there. I believe he is around 30 years old now. He's getting up there. If Goddard, comes back and something's messed up, I could definitely see Stowers going to that tight end 1 spot. Before this season, he was out pretty on and off during the Super Bowl season for the Eagles.
Broken forearm, I think it was.
Yeah, and then I think he had a hamstring problem as well. So I think he'd end up being the more of the receiving back if Goddard were to get hurt, and then Calcaterra would definitely be that blocking.
Yeah.
I am gonna be quick about this last one so we can get to some UDFAs. Kayshawn James Newby, defensive end, New Mexico. Watch some film on him. He is fast. I'm not sure about his 40 time, but he was getting off the edge great. I would love to see him develop behind Grenard, Smith, and Hunt and see how he goes from there. But if he gets a little bit stronger on the point of contact, he'll definitely be good. And I loved how he kept the edge, especially on very wide runs.
I feel like the Vikings kind of have an edge thing there too, since they just traded Grenard. Now, as far as edges goes, they have Andrew Van Ginkel, Dallas Turner, and now rookie linebacker out of Cincinnati, Jake Golday. And I think, and there's other guys, Bo Richter out of Air Force, Chas Chambliss. Not that I think they'll get a lot of playing time. They're more special teamers, but as far as who's on the edge this year, I think it's something I'd like to see as well.
Yeah. I have some notable UDFAs for the Eagles. I'd say the best two are uh, Daquan Wright, tight end from Ole Miss. You
Okay.
know, he probably, I'm surprised he didn't get drafted. He's in a very similar situation as Stowers. He's more receiving back, not as much focused on the uh, blocking scheme, but he is, I believe, 6'3", 240.
Seems like a
Um,
smaller tight end.
yeah, he definitely is, but he it seemed pretty fast. I mean, I don't know his 40 either, but uh, he showed some great speed. He caught well. I think he had 500 something yards this past season and 6 touchdowns. So
It's nothing to
he was,
sneeze at for a tight end. Yeah.
yeah, he was definitely used through that Ole Miss offense. And then his teammate, Kapen Gushikin, safety, he showed some good tackling as well. His coverage I thought was better than Winowski's from the film I saw, and he might be better in the run. Well, maybe not the run, but his tackling, his open field tackling for sure. Uh, it impressed me a lot. And I do worry that he might be a little handsy in the NFL. Could get some flags called. From the film I saw, he got pretty handsy with some people. I didn't see any flags in those games, but in the NFL, it could be completely different, and that could be a worry.
For sure. The Vikings have some stuff going on at the defensive back position too. I know they signed at least one or undrafted free agent corner, Tyreek Chappelle. I believe he came out of University of North Carolina, and I like to see him battle it out. It seems like he's going for a nickelback spot. But the Vikings, I feel like, need to bring in a little more corner help. I mean, they have Isaiah Rodgers, who played for the Eagles previously. He's
Mm-hmm.
been real
Yeah,
good at
he's
kind
a
of a
great player.
wide boundary corner. The other boundary corner, I feel like, hasn't the spots kind of open. I mean, slot Byron Murphy's there, but the Vikings drafted Charles Demings out of Stephen F. Austin, but hopefully, I've heard Kenny Moore is seeking a trade from the Colts, and maybe the Vikings will look into that. A visit that has happened with the Vikings very recently is Juwan Jennings, free agent wide receiver out of San Francisco, is on a visit with the Vikings according to Adam Schefter. And I'd like to see them sign him. He's a real good gadget player. He's thrown a few touchdowns in San Francisco, and he's a pretty solid receiver, and he filled the wide receiver 3 hole. And I think he'd be a pretty decent addition to the team.
Yeah, I mean, I think that would be a great trio having Jennings at the 3.
I mean, they could always bring back a different guy. I've been thinking about, how great it'd be for them to bring back guys like Stephon Diggs, or I mean, look into another guy like Debo Samuel. He's kind of another gadget player, but I know he does have some troubles catching the ball, contact point stuff. So that might be something to work on. And I mean, DeAndre Hopkins is out there too, but he's also aging.
Yeah, I mean, I think Jennings is definitely the best out of those handful that you said. And, with Addison's background, he hasn't been the greatest at playing all his games.
Yeah.
And if he were to do another not smart thing, Jennings could definitely go to that wide receiver 2 spot and do justice.
Yeah, 100%. I know when I went to the game in London this year, he broke off from the team's organized tour and KOC benched them for like the first half. And that was kind of funny to hear about after. But I was worried because the Browns were kind of sticking it to them without Jordan Addison. But I don't really know. I feel like as OTAs go on, and especially during the offseason, the Vikings will see some more roster spots kind of get filled, or some fresh blood kind of get moved to the top. But I don't know. I feel like the Eagles are kind of top heavy in the sense that a lot of guys who have already been there are the ones who are going to start. Not sure how much talent from this year's draft is really going to see the field. I mean, other than guys like Lemon, obviously he's going to see the field.
Yeah, I mean, other than Lemon, I'd say maybe Bell, just for the fact that he could take Dean's spot, or sorry, not Dean. Jihad is taking Dean's spot. That's for sure. That'll be, I guess, somewhat of a new face. I mean, not really. Jihad ended up starting, I think, 9 games or so, and Dean went to the Raiders. So technically, for starting spots, Jihad will be there. But I was thinking of Steen
Yeah.
For Markel Bell. Grenard will end up starting over more than likely Nolan Smith. Yeah, I mean, no one's taking a good chunk of spots, like Carter's staying, Quinyon Mitchell is staying, Cooper DeJean, he's staying.
But that's not a bad position to be in. I mean,
Yeah,
ideally, I feel like I'd want my draft to not make a crazy big impact because that means my team's already good and I'm in a good place, especially with how the NFC East is right now. I mean, I didn't see the Commanders make any massive moves in this draft. I mean, the Cowboys drafted like their usual three edges. They did get Caleb Downs though, so
they
that
did.
does fill a hole for them. So
I did think that the East in a whole did draft the best out of all of the other divisions. What is it? Sonny Styles for the
yeah,
Giants, Caleb Downs for the Cowboys.
I believe Sonny Styles did he not go to the Commanders?
Or yes, my bad. He went to the
Okay.
Commanders. And who am I thinking of? Arvell Reese for the Giants.
Yeah, yeah. The Giants not taking Carnell Tate kind of surprised me. I don't think
I
the Giants need another edge. I expected them to draft defensive tackle, if anything, defense
I
this.
I expected the same thing with them trading Lawrence. I expected them go more interior because I don't believe that they have a lot of depth at the interior line
No.
after
And
Lawrence.
last year was kind of the definition of them having too much of a good thing. I mean, Brian Burns on one side, Kayvon Thibodeau on the other, and then Abdul Carter. And I mean, Brian Burns was the kind of the mainstay, and then Thibodeau and Carter would rotate. But I mean, now they're in the same situation with Carter. I've heard he has some kind of off-field attitude issues, though. Not exactly the most motivated. But I mean, Brian Burns, that's what 15 sacks, and then now you go draft Arbel. I mean, who's given up the spot there? I feel like I would have
Yeah.
reached for a guy like Caden McDonald. I mean, it might have been a little early with their picks in the first round, but I mean, he's a real solid defensive tackle. But I'm surprised they did, and not even a wide receiver either.
Yeah, I
No one
I
to Darius Slayton does not seem like the best wide receiver too. But I mean, obviously I'm preaching to the choir. I mean, you want to see the Giants fail as much as I do, especially more with them being a divisional opponent.
yeah, I mean, I can't complain about other teams drafting bad considering Howie does what Howie wants pretty much. But I'll wrap up my last two players that I liked for UDFAs. It was Dante Lawson, linebacker, Alabama,
Okay, okay.
showed very similar things as Jihad, just not as fast, but led Alabama in tackles with, I believe, 82 or
That's a
around
lot. That's a
there.
lot.
And then we have one more guy, and he's also from Alabama, Jaden Roberts, guard.
Okay.
He is very similar to Morris for the fact that he didn't show out a lot, but he was consistent.
Never can
But
go wrong with that.
Yeah, and he was flustered sometimes as well due to the game. But those two teams play very hard and difficult schedules. Alabama.
100%.
What was it? Alabama had a top 30 or something like that for strength of schedule, like in the 20s or something like that.
That's yeah. Any team in the SEC is obviously going to get it. No, you can't. You can't. Well, they might not be the best conference in college football. I mean, they're still second, and they got a lot of talent. I mean, they have higher highs and lower lows in some places, but they're definitely a lot of good games in the SEC.
Mm-hmm. Those are the most notable UDFAs, and I think that was a very good draft and prospect pickups for the Eagles. The draft is probably the one of, if not the biggest strength for Howie.
I think it's the
He,
worst part of the Vikings. They've never been good at drafting.
yeah, Howie, the past 5 or 6 years has just been cooking. I mean, he's gotten so many players for us. Like he's gotten Carter, he's gotten Hurts, he's gotten Saquon from the Giants a couple years ago. Gotten he got AJ Brown for us. Devontae Smith, he's
He
gotten a
does
lot
a
of
great job.
yeah.
I mean, I'm interested to see if the Vikings will sign a general manager because they're just sticking with Rob Brzezinski or something. I think he's just the overall manager. I mean, not to say he's doing a bad job, but I mean that's obviously not the job he's used to doing. So, but I'm not sure what GMs are out there. But it'll be interesting to see as the offseason moves on. It's kind of moving into a boring time, a little bit of a dead zone in the season until preseason, or I mean until training camp in June, July area. But I mean, I'll just try to keep my posts as regular as possible, and hopefully the Vikings will have some interesting things going on. Thank you for joining me, Logan. Thank you. It's
Yeah,
great
of
to have your
course.
insight into the Eagles, a top team in the NFL, and especially to
Mhm.
the NFC East. You know, just giving us a little bit to see, giving us a little bit to look into with the NFC East, and maybe some of those takes will just show us how the season goes, especially into the playoff picture. So,
Mhm.
this is my friend Logan, one of my biggest supporters, especially with this podcast, one of my best friends. Do a lot with them, and it's really great to have him on the show. Thank you for joining me, Logan.
Yeah, of course. Thank you for inviting me.
And if there's any takes you want me to look into, any storylines, you can email me at joshtalksvikes@gmail.com. If you like this, have something to say, leave a comment. If you really like it, drop a like, subscribe. But thank you so much for watching, and I'll try to get back to you as soon as possible. Thank you so much, Logan. Thank you. It's another episode of Josh Talks Vikes.